Hey everybody, good Friday morning. Let's get this weekend started, y'all. Wake up. Top of the morning to everybody. Eddie Williams Sellers coming to you this morning, just sitting out here having my coffee, doing a little writing and thinking and pondering. So anyhow, good morning everybody. The morning post this morning, I sleep better when Ava is here. Although a part of me enjoys my alone time. But am I ever really alone with Boom Boom and Gracie always close by? I always think about when God made Adam and then he looked around and he said, "It is not good for man to be alone." Or at least the writer of that story assumed that God would have made that statement. It is good reading and food for thought just the same. It was hardest when I went through my divorce and being alone part. I got married 1 week after I turned 18. I had always lived with someone up until then. And then I was married for 20 years. And then at 38, I slept alone in a little one-bedroom apartment in Buckhead for the first time in my life. I thought I would love the freedom and joy of being single, of being alone. But in reality, divorce is hard. I wound up depressed and suicidal. Those were dark times in my life. We have to make it through those dark times. That is when the demons come out at night and dance beside our bed. It is already turning into an interesting summer, the summer of 2025. I rode by the Key Roadhouse yesterday. I'll spend the next 3 months piddling and diddling and fixing it up. It has been a rental house for the last 15 years. It needs a rehab from the front door to the back door. Although it does have a new roof and an HVAC system, it has a deep lot for a city house, 340 feet deep. You need a riding lawnmower. I wouldn't want to have to cut that grass. Of course, I have a lawn guy that comes cut my grass every 2 weeks. I always think when selling a house, do I do the rehab and make a little money? I look at it both ways, but in the end, I'll probably do the rehab. The last Key Road house that I sold, I bought all of the staging furniture from Habitat Restores. So there's that. I like picking colors and tiles and flooring and staging with pieces that I like to get out and diddle around and shop for. Rummage through, as my mama used to say. Life has changed a lot since those days of divorce. And when the demons used to come at night and dance beside my bed, I had resigned myself to my reality back then that I was broke, that I would never own a home again, that I had walked away from everything. And for a while, I even slept on a mattress on the floor. During those times, Sammy would drive from Conyers to Buckhead often to check on me. And people wonder, "Eddie, why did you love him so much?" Easy. He walked with me through my dark times. Sometimes we love people just because they show up. It was all just a part of my journey. Now I can see that. It didn't feel like it back then, though. But now I can look back and see it was just life's journey, my journey. It taught me things. Yeah, you learn some things during that time. You learn the people that will step up for you. Yeah. Closing out, as an old preacher under a tent revival might say, there is a time to move. There is a time to stay still. There is a time to buy. There is a time to sell. There is a time to be alone. And there is a time to be with someone. There is a time when the demons will come and dance beside your bed at night. There is a time when we'll sleep in peace. No one can predict life. The pictures over on my Facebook page are of the Key Road house in southeast Atlanta. The backyard goes on forever, 300 feet deep, which is rare for a city lot. It's up for sale. I don't have a clue how much I'm going to sell it for yet. You just have to let things come into focus. Love y'all. I remember one of the things that touched me during that time that always stuck with me. About 3 months before I had left and moved out, I had went and bought a brand new 1998 Ford Ranger pickup truck, and a pretty little green truck. Loved it. Well, when I left, I didn't have the money to pay that payment. It was financed on like a 48-month or 36-month payment, and show you how life can work out. Uh, so I worked for Georgia Blueprint, and a man called Dan Stevens, and I called him and told him I wanted to have lunch with him. He worked in the Dunwoody office. I ran the downtown location of Georgia Blueprint. And he said, "Okay, Eddie." I said, "Dan, I need to have lunch with you." And so he came down. So we walked up to Macy's, which had the mezzanine on the second floor, and they had good food at that Macy's on that Peachtree Street, that big 5-story Macy's. And we sat there eating, and he says, "Eddie, what is it? What's going on?" And I said, "Dan, I want to tell you something. I'm kind of in financial bind." I said, "I've moved out. I'm going to go through a divorce, and I bought this little Ford Ranger truck a few months ago." I said, "Dan, there ain't no way I can pay my apartment rent and my truck rent." And he's like, "Well, what do you want me to do?" I guess he thought I was going to ask for a raise or something. I said, "I want you to buy that pickup truck and give it to me." And he didn't act like it, he just took it. And we walked back to the shop down on the corner of Lucky and Spring Street. And we walked in, and we'd walked past the desk where the accountant that we had at the company, Belkis, a lady from Venezuela named Belkis. And I just heard him as we walked by Belkis. He stopped and he said, "Belkis, Eddie's going to give you some paperwork from the Ford Motor Company. Cut a check to them and pay off that truck." And so you just remember stuff like that. Even during the darkest times you're going through in your life, you just remember stuff like that. I'm like, how amazing. What in the world, how amazing are those things that can happen to us, even going through hard places in life. So anyhow, good day, everybody. Love y'all.